I hope you like the clinic part of Swing the Circle. But there are basic fundamentals that need to go into bringing that circle together so that it's really effective. I like to think of it as a chain. You know, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And your circle making is only going to be as strong as the weakest part, you know, of your circular swing motion. And there are certain parts of it that we're going to cover. These are just basically the fundamentals. So what I want to cover is your grip, how you put your hands on the club, and we showed how that's very important, how you aim, how you set up your posture, how you make that waggle. Then we're going to go through a little bit of the backswing, a couple little exercises you can do, how you set your hands and you get your body moving through the swing, and then lastly, how we circle out to the right and produce that nice circular flow into the ball so the ball can just take off and go right towards the target. So let's start with the grip. The purpose of good hand placement on the club is, one, so that the wrist can set at a 90-degree angle, and two, so that as you swing, they can set and rotate through, bringing the circle through the ball and sending the ball to the hole. One of the things that I showed on the clinic part is how important it is to get your sixth finger, or this little muscle up here at the top of the pad, or they call it the ham of the hand, that we get that on top of the grip and not so that it's on the side of the grip. Now what I suggest you do is whenever you're taking your grip and you're putting your hands on the club, don't take it with your hands up like this where the club head's down on the ground, because that's going to get that club up in the palms too much. You always want to bring the club into your hands. So in other words, stand up straight and hold it in your right hand, and then bring the club, the grip, into your palms so that you can grip it in the fingers and that you can get that sixth finger on top. What you want to feel like is you're clamping down on it. And also you want to have your hands fairly balanced. If you were to just take a club like this and hold your hands to your side, you can see that my thumbs hang inwardly. I don't have them like this. You don't walk like this. So you want your hands to naturally hang in like this, and then as you bring them together, you get it under the pad, bring them in so that the hands come together and you're more like this on top rather than this way. And so they should be pretty balanced. And a pretty good rule of thumb is that the little V here on both of these hands should come approximately towards your right shin. So when you do it correctly, you'll feel it in your fingers, you'll feel it locked down under that pad, it'll be in a position, and you should be able to just take it up and set it on your shoulder like this very easily with no tension. Another good way to practice it if you're at home is just to go sit down in a chair and put your elbows up on a table and put your hands into it. And then you'll really feel how that sits right into the hands. Now your right hand, the thumb and forefinger, kind of work like a trigger on a gun. So if you're going to pull a trigger, you've got this little trigger finger like this, so that basically fits like this on the club. You don't want it around in the back of your hand like this, but it just fits down just like this. And that helps you to support the club. When you come to the top, you'll be able to support it right in that little V there to give it good support at the top of your swing. That's why the placement of the hands is so important. Developing a good circle is very important, but you also, when you go out and play or you practice, you have to have it aimed. And so aim is very important. So the picture you want to have is, when I talked about swinging in a circle underneath the hula hoop like this, well, we get that going pretty good, but then we have to tilt that down, and then we have to aim the circle, and you can see I'm aiming the hula hoop right towards my target out there, the white flag and the telephone pole. So then when I make my swing in my circular path around and through, as the club comes through on its circular path, it's going to send the ball right out towards the hole. So getting this picture in your mind of setting the circle and aiming the club is very critical to playing good shots. Also, as I shared with you on the clinic part, you want to think about your left shoulder as really being the sight, because your shoulders are really the rudder of the swing. Where they start is generally where the club is going to return. That's where your circle is going to come back. So think about having a little sight on the tip of your forward shoulder, and then when you come in and you set the face, you aim, set that shoulder up nice and high, look over it like you're looking out the sight, then take your athletic stance, and now you're in that perfect position to take your waggle and wind up and play that shot right to the pin. The purpose of good posture is to support the circle, and also it helps to initiate that backswing and that forward swing. So you know, as we swung the circle around our body using the CB ball, remember we need to keep that spine up nice and straight so that as you bend down, the spine stays straight so that your circle can whirl around and get as close as possible with the shaft coming straight up towards your spine. Remember, the ball would go below, and the faster we swung, the more it would go to a 90-degree angle. So part of that posture is to keep that spine angle up so that you can whirl the club around and have it come in with maximum force to the back of the ball. The problem most people have is when they bend over, the natural way to bend over towards the golf ball, I'm going to use this long pipe to show you, is the natural way is to bend over like this towards the ball. Now that feels comfortable, but what happened to my back angle? I totally lost it. So what you have to do is when you bend forward, you have to kind of sit down and counter it by sticking the back of your lap out. And now you can see that my back angle is nice and straight, and I'm at a point where I can just whirl that club around. So this is the position that you want to have, and one way that you can feel it would be like a weightlifter stance. In other words, if you were to bend over, you wouldn't bend this way to pick up a heavy weight. You'd want to sit down this way and get your back up nice and straight, come down and pick it up, and you'd be in this kind of an athletic position where you're absorbing the tension in your thighs and not so much on your back. And when you do that, you can produce that nice circular swing all the way back and all the way through. So that posture keeps you nice and steady and supports you. So just like the discus player, the discus thrower, he comes around this way and he keeps his spine nice and straight. It's the same way in golf. One other picture would be that of a football quarterback. You know, when the quarterback comes in to take the center, he's got his chin up, his back's up nice and straight. He's sitting down, he takes the hand off in this position, then he brings it back and he hands it off. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next motion, is how to do that waggle and then how to ignite that backswing by twisting our body and letting the club just flow. So get that posture right. Work with these drills. Think about the weightlifter's drill. Think about the quarterback, chin up, back nice and straight, cushioning all the tension in your thighs, and now you're in a position to make that good circular swing all the way back and all the way through. If you watched any baseball, you see this all the time, don't you? The batters are kind of doing this motion like this. They're really feeling the swing when it comes through the ball. They're kind of igniting to get ready for that pitch to come. Well, that's just what a waggle is in golf. You know, you don't want to start from a frozen position, which is very common, I see. So when you get up to the ball, you want to set up to the ball, always get your aim, get your posture, and then what we're talking about is doing a little waggle. This is be a big circular motion. See how that club is circling? But we're going to do just a little one out here over the top of the ball. And what this is doing is it's loosening up those wrists. It's giving your arms that nice feeling, and also your body is kind of moving along with it. So you want to just kind of relax, and you're doing a little circle over the top of the ball. And what that's going to do is relax you to when you do put it down, now you're ready to go, and that's when you start making that nice coil motion away from the ball. So practice the waggle, because it's really going to be that thing that ignites that circular swing. We're talking about blending the circular power of the body with the setting of the wrists, and it's so important that you continue to work on that setting of the wrists by getting the correct position of your grip in that left hand with the 6th finger on top, because that gives you the setting motion, the 90-degree set, and also enables that club to rotate in the circle as you come around and through the ball. So on the setting motion, when you come around, I'm going to use the sledgehammer again. Remember, we talked about how this is the power motion. But if you can imagine swinging a heavy weight like this coming back, you know, if my hands go to the side, and it's going to be really hard for me to support that. This is the same thing that happens with a golf club, with the weight of the club, if you don't get it set under here, or if you go up this way, see? So the key is, as you twist, the hands set under, and it's just like you're supporting this weight up to the top, and now you're in a position to make that nice circular initiation with the hips. The hands come around, and then they reset on this side where you balance that weight up over your hands on this side. The broom is an excellent way for you to feel that, and I suggest that you just go get a used one, get an old one, paint it a couple colors, and then what we did with this broom again was you set up, twist, and then here's where you go to green, and you look and you see green, that's where your hand should be. Then as you come through, we change the colors, that's where the rotation comes, and also the releasing of the hands and the resetting of the hands. So you can see as I do this, there's tremendous power. My wrists are setting and resetting, and that circular power is coming right around through the ball to really send it out there with a lot of force and a lot of power. The backswing really starts when we can get in that posture position, and then we can coil going back. See, what that is that's just a winding up of the shoulder and the right hip, and it's just a winding up, a coiling motion where we twist, and we just let the club come along and stay real quiet. One of the ways you can do this is just kind of put a club up in your belly button and hold down on it like this, and then just twist back with your shoulders and your hips. It's a great little practice exercise, see? So when you get into this position, then you're coiled, your feet are flat on the ground, it's like a flat-footed twist, see, of your lower body. That's what you should feel like. You're screwing yourself down into the ground. There's no lifting and shifting, but there's just a twisting motion. And as you get into this position, then we're going to talk about how that club begins to set. The circle gets set and loaded, adding in that extra power source. But this power source is this motion. Just like this, taking that weightlifter stance, and then we simply twist back. Now, remember the clinic part where we talked about the John Duncan Dunn drill? Go back and watch that. That's just where you stand in front of a mirror, look behind you, keep your shoulders there, look down at the ball, and then simply put your hands up, and now you're going to feel that coiling motion. You're going to feel how you're planted into the ground. You're going to feel how you're ready to go, and now you can just set those wrists and crank it down and just send that ball out with that nice full circle all the way through the ball. So that's what the backswing's about. This is another good way to practice crossing your chest, twisting back, twisting through. You want to feel that core. You want to feel the axis of your spine. Everything revolves around it. That sets you up to be able to get that power source into the swing and into that swing circle. I hope that you can see how all those links of the chain kind of work together. How that grip, when you put your hands on there correctly, when you get aimed, you get your posture, all that's doing is that setting that circle up. It's all to support the swinging of the club in a circle so that you can be a great circle maker. Now the forward swing, of course, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where we've got to go through that ball, send that circle into the ball, and then send it out to the hole. And so the feeling is that you want to bring that club in, around, and then you want to swing out just a little bit to the right of your target. Why? Because your shoulders are moving in a circle and your hands are coming around, and you want to be able to send that ball out really powerfully out towards the target. It works a lot like the soccer kicker, that's kicking the football for field goals. He's exercising his lever here, and then when he comes in, he holds that angle till the last minute, swings his leg in an arc, and you know what they always do? They always kick towards the right goal post and hook it through. Well, that's just exactly the feeling you want to have when you come into a golf ball. You're coming into the ball and you want to swing out a little bit out to the right, and then that lets the face come in and circle all the way around into this finished position. So it's a lot like that field goal kicker. Or it may be a little bit like a pitcher that's throwing a curveball at a right-handed batter. See, he throws the ball at the batter, but he lets his wrist come around and the ball comes right in and hooks right over the plate. This is what it means to have an inside-out swing in golf. It's coiling the body, it's uncoiling, and then you simply swing the circle out to the right, let it contact the ball, and you always want to finish out and up over your forward shoulder. Another way that you can practice this is by just simply taking a plate or a frisbee. It's a great way to feel that transition. Hold it down, get in your posture, hold it out in front of you like this, rotate back, coil, and then when you're right here, now when you come forward, you want to rotate this way, see? Just like this. There's a nice little in motion, out, and then up through the ball, right up over your left shoulder. Lastly, good way to practice this is simply take a club, hold it over your head, with just your wrist make a circle. Then bring it down in front of you and make a circle. Real relaxed, elbows in against your body. Then bring it back behind you and make the circle go out to the right. See how I'm doing this? Now basically what that is, that's a huge waggle that we made down originally in here, see? But now we're making it this way. And when you do this circle to the right, you'll really feel how your hands come in here and crack the circle through the ball. And that's where the power comes in the golf swing. When you can finish that circle all the way through the ball, bringing your hands all the way on up, right over your forward shoulder. So that ends this section about the fundamentals. You can work with these fundamentals. The key is we now have to integrate those in to working with your CB ball, and that's what we're going to get into next.